The meeting will then be officially called to order. Please stand as Trustee Blunt leads us in the invocation and pledges of allegiance.
Do the invocation first. Almighty and merciful God, we ask your guidance and blessings on this board, students, parents, patrons, teachers, and administrators as we assemble here this evening in the common pursuit of this great nation's wealth, our children. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. All right, we'll begin our meeting tonight with the superintendent's report. Dr. Woods.
Thank you, Dr. Harld. Several items tonight. I want to report to the group that we did have recently a really well-attended Go Public update for trustees and school staff that our executive director, Lisa Jackson, put together. And I felt like it was really informative, felt like folks got a lot out of it and really are understanding the work that's going on behind the scenes in Go Public. So appreciate the representation we had at that meeting. I got to, I say got to, I testified in front of House Public Education Committee recently on a couple of bills, House Bill 3, which obviously just got passed in the last legislative session, and then 1842, which was a bill from the last session that you see a lot in the newspaper these days with Houston ISD in particular and the state's takeover of that, and expressed some opinions to the committee about the instrument we're using to make these decisions about essentially vacating a locally elected board, right, which is what's going on in Houston that you see so much news about. And so it was a good opportunity. I'm not sure how much progress we made, but it's establishing or changing what's already established law is 1,000 little conversations before you see progress. And so that was just one of many that we've still got a long way to go. Thanks to our guidance and counseling department and our high school counselors, we had a very largely attended college night. We do this annually at UTSA. We're actually going to move it to a Northside facility coming up, but it was extremely well attended. We offer about 140 colleges and universities. The military branches are there, and it's a nice night for parents and kids to come and really think about their future. We don't have a lot of seniors come because a lot of those kids have pretty much made those decisions, but it is well attended by 9th, 10th, and 11th grade kiddos and their families. Mr. Medina and I were able to attend the bowling kickoff recently. We have a very large bowling club at all of our Northside high schools. Had hundreds of kids and families there, and that was a really nice event. Really enjoy doing that. Some awards that I want to identify, and a couple of them we're going to recognize tonight, so I'll leave them out. But I do want to say that we had a winner of the Humanities Texas Award by Andres Lopez, who is a social studies teacher at Stevens High School. Very, very talented teacher at Stevens High School, and he recently was honored with that award. And again, we had a couple of folks recognized at the International Language Conference here in the Service Center, and I'll skip that because we're coming back to it here in a few minutes. I want to thank the communications folks and the Leroy's folks in maintenance and custodial, and Tom Bunty, the principal at Hausman. I thought we had a really nice, other than the slanting rain and 45 degrees, we had a really nice 50th anniversary for Hausman. I thought it was extremely well done. So thanks to all of those folks for putting that celebration together. I got to go to a couple of Saturdays ago to the Carnahan Elementary Arbor Day celebration. That's a long-standing tradition at Carnahan under the direction of namesake Peggy Carnahan, who really cares about those kinds of things. And they brought back longtime educator Kent Page, who I know many of you know, to help kids to plant native species. And it's always just a really nice event there in the Carnahan community. Last night, we held the high school magnet fair, and we used to do it at one site, but it's too big to do it at one site, so we replicate and we do it at two sites. And I was at one, and I understand the other was also well attended. And that leads me to our video tonight, which is the Science and Engineering Academy promotional video for their recruitment of 8th grade students.
In the classrooms of the John Jay Science and Engineering Academy, you will be inspired.
Everyone here is so passionate about what they do and fully in love with the sciences. It's just an amazing place to be.
SEA is one of Northside's 6 high school magnet programs designed for students interested in science, math, technology, and engineering.
It just makes me happy to come to school to know that I can study early on what I want to do in college.
SEA has 6 strands of concentration: robotics, engineering, biochemistry, technology, science, math, and computer science, all giving students hands-on learning experiences and encouraging them to excel.
What I really love is I found more people passionate about school and who really care about their future.
I decided to come here because I've always liked a smaller environment a little bit better, a close feeling, but also because the school is a lot more correlated with everyone who have the same passions that I do.
But it's not just passion for things in the classroom. SEA is part of a comprehensive high school and allows students to take part in all extracurricular activities.
So with electives, you mix in with the regular high school. So we're part of John Jay, so basketball, track, band, it was all part of Jay.
SEA also has the benefit of a small school with personalized attention from teachers.
They're all extremely helpful. They're all very enthusiastic about what they do. They're all very good at what they do as well. Very much professionals, and they also help you with anything you need, whether it be school-related or outside.
And that means helping students focus on their current academics, as well as making sure every student is looking ahead to college.
Every step of the way, they're there to help you. We even have a class in our senior year to help those kids get ready for college. So if they're stuck, they're going to help them apply. If they're too scared, they're going to help them find scholarships.
And all around SEA, you will see a culture that helps students succeed.
Definitely the environment that it provides. Everyone encourages being creative, encourages being smart, striving to reach your goals.
I think it's a really great opportunity. You just have to take advantage of what's there in front of you.
The John Jay Science and Engineering Academy is open to all area students. Students must have at least a C+ average in core subjects, good attendance, no discipline problems, and passing standardized test scores. Interested students must also submit an application and an essay by the deadline. For more information, visit your school counselor and check out the JSEA website.
Decided to try a magnet at a middle school as well for this coming school year, and yesterday was the first day that we had applications open to our 5th grade students to apply. And Deanna reported to us in a meeting this morning that we had more applications in the first day than we have seats. So folks are obviously very interested in that as well. So we're really looking forward to what that will produce as well. Dr. Harrell, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you so much. It sounds like we need 3 or 4 middle school magnets, but we can dream. We can dream.
In time.
In time. In time. Thank you so much. Are there any reports from the board? Ms. Freeman.
Thank you, Dr. Harrell. I had the pleasure and I guess honor of being selected to represent TASB on a selection committee that selected the Texas State Teacher of the Year. And I guess I'd been called, it was a couple months before, this was maybe 2-3 weeks ago that the event happened. And so it wasn't until about a week and a half before the event I was talking to Dr. Woods and realized that Dr. Woods was presiding over the meeting as representing TASA, and Monica from TSPRA, the president of TSPRA, she was also on that selection committee. So I think there's certainly less than a dozen on the committee, and Northside was very well represented. It was certainly quite an honor to be part of that and to interview the candidates. It was really a difficult selection, but what was so heartening was to hear the teachers' stories and about their passion and their dedication for education. And not only did we interview the candidates, but the one evening there was a dinner, and we had there was an elementary and a secondary education educator from each region, And so we had a dinner, and each of the candidates was able to get up and tell a piece of their story. So it was really exciting. They were all rock stars. It was really difficult. Karen Sams from Weatherford was the third grade. She was from third grade. She was actually the Texas State Superintendent of the Texas State Teacher of the Year. And then Michelle Sandoval was also selected. She was from Isleta as an 8th grade teacher. So it was fun to be part of all of that. Also, congratulations to Hausman Elementary. The kids were awesome. They had wonderful presentations, and there was a 50th year celebration. And with all of that, the school had selected a new school song for, I guess, the next 50 years of that school. A new school song and an updated logo. And so it was fun to be part of that. And as a trustee, I got to tell you, I'm really proud that school is 50 years old, but it has so much character, and I'm proud of the way that we maintain our older schools in this school district. And they have all the technology and everything that our newer schools have. So I'm really proud that we keep up our schools like that. And Dr. Woods is a real leader in the state. He talked about testifying before the House Public Ed Committee, and I know that you're selected to participate in a lot of those. He's on the committee for compensatory ed. The funding for the compensatory ed is changed in House Bill 3, and so I know he does a lot with that. He certainly looks out for the interests of the students and the staff in Northside, but also for all the children across the state of Texas. So thank you for being a leader in that. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Reed, and I figured out why I wasn't calling on you last time. The names,
Well,
we got it.
yeah. Oh, I moved over last time because Bobby went here, and they just let me here now. So.
There we go.
And I didn't push the right button. So it wasn't your fault this time.
Good.
Okay. A couple of things, and they've already been mentioned to a certain extent. But first of all, I wanted to brag a little bit about a personal issue. As most of you all know, that our daughter is working with the bullet train that will be built go between Dallas and Houston. So there were a lot of transportation issues that went on here. The chamber had one where she was part of the panel. Samco had one where we had a lot of our state legislators there who were on the panel. And she was just here yesterday to attend the transportation meeting, and she's actually going to be back tomorrow. Now, she lives in Dallas, for those of you who don't know. So she is a woman on the move all the time, going to various places, and it's just been fun for people to come up to me and say, "Oh, your daughter does such a good job." I said, "Yeah." And on top of that, she went to Northside. I didn't say that, but that's in my head. But I have to mention a few things about Hausman because I was the speaker at the Hausman 50th anniversary celebration. And before I moved to where we are now, I used to live just south of there, right off Vance Jackson, and our kids went to Colonies North. But at that time, Colonies North School, which is just a couple years older than Hausman, and Hausman were they were all built by Ray Ellison Homes, and one was built first and then the other. And we had great partnership because we all shopped at the same place at Colony Mall, and there used to be a movie theater there. My kids rode bikes up there on Saturday and went to the movies, and it was just a whole sort of enlarged neighborhood. And I actually, after I talked and the program was over the other night, had a number of people that came up to me and said, and they have kids the same age as mine, and they remember that all happening. So it was kind of like a little homecoming for me, and so I was very grateful that I got to talk. But you're right, it was pouring down rain when we left. I was so glad that the gym where the reception was not very far. I mean, if it had been out at Colonies North, we would have all been drenched because their gym is way out there. It was a really fun evening, and the kids, as you said, were just fantastic. We had the folkloric dancers also, and and we had the Holmes High School that came and played, the mariachi group came and played for half an hour before the event started. So it was a really fun evening to be there, even though we did get a lot of rain, but it wasn't raining at my house when I got home. The last thing I wanted to, well, two things. We do have a person whose picture's up here on the wall. His name is Sam Godfrey, and he was on the board here just before I got on the board, and he passed away about 2 weeks ago, I believe. So just for the record, that should be noted that he was on the board, I think, for about 10 years. And he didn't live here in San Antonio anymore, but always stayed connected. And his kids went to school with my kids also, so that's just that kind of an age. I represent school districts for the Alamo Area Council of Governments, which is a 13-county regional board, mostly with judges and city managers, not city mayors and so forth and so on. And I'm the only school board member on there, so I'm there to represent all school boards. Well, we have an annual meeting every year in December that gives out awards in different categories. And this year, we submitted our Threads program to be a possible recipient, and they are a winner. So we will once again have, our transportation department has gotten the awards in the past, and I can't remember the others that have, but it's a program that now is being recognized because there's another Threads program like ours that was also submitted, so the two of them are going to be honored together. And so we will have a group there for that.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's all I have. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Mr. Blunt.
Yeah, I just can give the board an update on the Bear County School Boards Coalition effort, which we all belong to, on the book number 2, public education book number 2. We got all the districts, all the 20 districts in Bear County have submitted their descriptions and promotional material and other things that they're added for their section. And the reason why I bring it up is we've got a very supportive Northside high schools that are actually helping out with the book. So Taft High School is actually going to compile the book for us. You maybe remember book number 1 was actually done by Clark High School. And then at the same time, we'd also requested sort of a Go Public section and sort of begin the book out. And Hannah Garcia, if y'all recall, the video that she did, I got in touch with Hannah and I asked her to write that chapter for us. She's out at UT and she gave me a draft this week. So it's good to have the support from our students in this particular effort.
She's in college now, right?
Yeah, she's
At
out at
UT?
UT, yeah, correct.
In Austin?
Yeah.
Longhorns.
Is there another one? No, not really. Uh-oh. I'm not going to get in that debate. Okay, the other one I had, I want to let everybody know who, for those of us on the technology committee, we had the opportunity to visit one of our initial elementary schools that had the STEM lab, and that was a great experience. I mean, if you haven't had a chance, you've got to go by and see that. The enthusiastic the kids were, the exposure they were getting, it was phenomenal, to put it lightly. So I did want to pass that on. And then the last one I have, I'm sorry I missed out on Hausman, but I didn't know there was a new song. I think, and I hope everybody else here also agrees, I think it'd be nice if our superintendent board members would sing that new song so we all had an opportunity to hear it, since we weren't there.
We don't have the words.
Oh, my bad. Oh, well. look at your face. Anyway, that's all I had.
We'd have to have the kids come do it because even all the kids at school don't know it yet. So.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. Any other trustees? Mr. Lopez, Ms. Shumley?
Go ahead.
Okay, you're fine?
I'm fine. What would you like?
Okay. I was just going to, Mr. Medina, thank you. I looked and,
Again, just a public announcement. There's so many fine arts activities that are going on throughout our district. Just if there's any way, if you're connected to a school campus, if you're interested in entertainment, whether it's orchestra to band competitions or our theater department that is, completely thriving, as well as our sporting events. And so for the next couple weeks, just be connected, and it's family fun. It's competition, and you're always watching our students do their best at what they love. Again, just thank you, Dr. Woods, being there in Austin, fighting for our students, fighting for our children, and fighting for our educators in the state of Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. Ms. Chumley.
Just real quick, if y'all are interested, business career or insight, could use some mentors. If anybody is interested, I just got my new mentee, and if y'all are interested, it's just really rewarding. Though weird things like running this evening, pardon me for having to leave, comes up with that sometimes. I just wanted to let the board know I ran into Dave Gannon the other day, and he is going to be getting off the NEF board after 21 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I'm sure that we're going to be acknowledging those individuals going off, but I did want to let you know because I thought that's a pretty long tenure. I'm not sure who else is that level for NEF, but he's done a really great job. So, yeah, that's, so we also have that continuity and longevity on our foundation board too, and I just thought that that was pretty neat. I'm not sure if other school districts can say the same. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. I just wanted to mention very quickly, last week, Bobby and I attended a John Jay Science Engineering Academy advisory meeting, and I think for at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes, the principal was sharing all the accolades our students are getting, all the competition, all the exposures. They do have a science and engineering fair and research symposium coming up in December, and they need judges. And so if anyone's interested in judging and really getting one-to-one expertise from kids that are 14, 15 years old to 17, 18 years old, it's phenomenal. So I highly recommend it if you just want to be out there. I mean, you will feel so good about our future being with kids. It also gave me an opportunity to go visit. They're piloting a communities in school program. It's originally called the Base Wellness Coach, but they changed it to the Social Emotional Coach. And what this young lady does is she works with teachers who have questions and concerns and need ideas and support for kids who are either going through trauma or have just emotional issues. And she gives them ideas and she coaches them. It's a different way that Communities in Schools is supporting our district. And the principal and I sat in there with her and listened to all the different ways kids are being served through their teachers' knowledge, being expanded and supported by this new program. So that was wonderful. And then if you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet, I read this. You know, one thing about Northside is we're communicated so well through all our newsletters and Facebook, and I think it was in Inside Northside. You were talking about the book 2 of the Northside Historical Cookbook is out, and Christmas presents, $25. The money goes to support the history of Northside. And if you haven't visited the museum, it's incredible. But anyway, great recipes. I've already got my Thanksgiving ones ready to go. And then just a shout out to all our veterans. We had so many Veterans Day celebrations, and they, if anything, have felt so honored and well cared for and loved and beloved by Northside. So thanks to all our schools for hosting incredible celebrations. And that's it. And we will now move on to our recognitions. Yay, I'm so excited. So Dr. Jordan is here, and she's going to present Cynthia Gongoria and Faustino Ortega with major awards. So with that, I think we'll join you. Yes.
evening. I'm Janice Jordan, Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. It's my pleasure to introduce Cynthia Gongora, an ESL teacher at Stevens High School, who was named the ESL Teacher of the Year by Region 20 during the 2019 Language Conference held earlier this month. This award was established to recognize the efforts of outstanding educators in the ESL classroom setting within the ESC 20 area. Cynthia has taught at the secondary level for 34 years. She began her teaching career in Harlandale in 1980, then joined NISD in 1984 at Holmes High School as an English teacher. After a period of 4 years spent in Connecticut, New York, and Temple, Texas, she returned to NISD. In her application, she said that she served in many capacities, but none more important than that as an advocate. It is my pleasure to present Cynthia Gongora, the 2019 Region 20 ESL Teacher of the Year.
What you make that you also, you want to get a picture?
I do.
Congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You just weren't on the huggy side.
Now, we will take a
Each
picture.
family, please stand up for recognition. Let's give them a huge round of applause.
Anna, you're gonna have my sister take us a beautiful picture.
Well, you can come in the middle. There you go.
Very nice.
Different angles.
I don't want to get that podium, but I think this is good.
Oh, sure. I'll squeeze right here.
I'm gonna make, maybe, this is school, right? So I'm gonna be creative.
Yes.
Okay.
This is only one, so come on, let's do it right.
How? You get a, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, 1, 2, 3, again.
Say cheese. Patty, thank you. Cheetos, my grandson used to say Cheetos.
It's heavier than it looks. It is heavier than it looks. Is it straight? Yes, woo! I've got to. Okay, so now it is my pleasure to introduce Faustina Ortega, principal of Ross Middle School, and his family, his 2 sons and his wife, who was named Administrator of the Year by Region 20. He has over 25 years experience. He began his teaching career in Gainesville, Florida, moved to San Antonio into South San, and then joined 2009 as assistant principal at Ross Middle School. It is my pleasure to present Faustina Ortega, the 2019 Region 20 ESL Administrator of the Year.
We're a family, remember.
And so Faustina's family, y'all stand up.
Plus, now you all can go eat somewhere.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to be here. You guys are good.
Yeah, y'all have a good, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yes.
I would like to just say, I know, please continue to work hard with the kids, for the kids. That's so important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Sweet.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, we are moving to the consent agenda. And looking, is there any discussion?
I have a question on one. I've
Okay,
got one
Ms.
up
Chumley?
But I've got a question on it. So Brian, I remember a few years back where we had an issue on foreign exchange students because there was some concerns in relation to some of the hosting companies. And I was real surprised when looking at our numbers that we've got we have 18 at one school.
Right.
That's later. Oh, it's on this consent agenda.
It's one of the reasons why we actually want to apply for this waiver, because it helps us kind of spread the wealth a little bit, because you cap school by school.
Okay,
Which is
so
why
it's
we used
10
it in the
at
past.
each school.
Correct.
Okay, so, all right.
No
And
more
then-
than 10, yeah.
And then what happens, then, do we just let these students?
Stay.
Yes,
they'll finish
the
out
ones who
their
are
time
there,
Kick 'em
right.
And then just cap at 10 coming in?
Yes, ma'am.
And do we know, do we know the issues that we had in the past with those organizations that sponsored them? I mean, those are cleared up, we feel pretty confident. I mean, we had students being left here with no funds, it was,
We,
and the district had to step up and take care of them until they could go home or,
we invited some host companies not to work with us again.
okay. So the ones we have now, we feel pretty confident, because even at 10, that's a lot of kids that,
Not when you got 3,000.
It is, but we think it's doable, and it caps it per campus so that you can kind of spread the numbers out a little bit.
okay, I like that, and I'm glad that we've looked into the companies and we're good with it. Okay, that was it, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Do I hear a motion to
I would
approve
move
the consent?
approval.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. We approve the consent agenda. We do not have citizens to be heard. No items on curriculum and instruction. We are now moving to the schematic design for building replacement at Westwood Terrace Elementary School. Mr. San Miguel.
Thank you. Tonight we have several of our schematic designs as a result of the 2018 bond program. The first one we have for you is the schematic design for replacement of 2 existing buildings at Westwood Terrace. The architect during the building committee meeting presented a master plan that led us to the schematic design that is being presented tonight. And so Mr. Monty Howard, right behind me, Mormon and Mock will make the presentation for us.
Good evening, everyone. Greg Ferguson, who's been assisting on the project, will pass out your packets. We were charged to be brief, so I will try to be brief with this tonight.
Thank you.
You said try. I did hold the button down. Okay, what we have is basically it's a building replacement project for 2 of the older buildings on campus. Those buildings they extend from the cafeteria building here and here. They will be taken down in the initial phase of the work and some site preparation done, and will be replaced by the building that is represented by this footprint. It will be a 20 classroom, open 20 classroom building, 10 classrooms down, 10 classrooms up, and the lower level will include a STEM lab and a large classroom. Okay. Got my turn. Okay, what you see here is the first and second floor of our proposed design. One of the things that we're looking at to keep control of budget right now and still address the needs of the campus in the future is to do a base proposal for a full build-out on the lower level, and then look at the option of doing a shell on the second level under this contract with the building being prepared for future construction in the next phase to support the rest of the campus population. What you see here is a 3D representation of how the building will fit into the site. Again, the two classroom wings that are coming down exist right here, right now. This building will tuck in between what is the D wing and the cafeteria building on the campus. This wing houses kinder, this is the cafeteria, administration, library, and other classroom space. This is what we envision the building looking like. We're trying to work with some of the existing architecture on the campus in terms of banding and brick color, but since this is a new building, we're looking at reversing the concentration of those colors and still adding a little bit that represents some of the other window replacement work on the campus as well. It's a little bit of a context on how that would look. What you can see here is the existing D building, which we will be working next to, that has the banding, the brick banding, which is the light infill, and the dark banding, and we'll be doing the reverse of that on the skin of the new construction. And then on the upper level, we're working with the infill project that happened within the last bond program on the campus as well, picking up some of those hints on the upper level. This is what we believe it's a representation of what it'll look like when it's done. Again, playing off the existing building with opposite colors on the banding, picking up and going around our building, and then picking up on the window infill look as well on the second floor. And we look to be under construction this coming summer, and should take about a year to build. It will be 2 summers and a year in between. That concludes our presentation.
Next month.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is for action. This is for action. The Westwood Terrace item is for consideration.
I move approval of the schematic design for building replacement for Westwood Terrace.
Okay, I'm looking at this. Where do I do each one separately?
Yeah.
Then? Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, we approve the schematic design. Now we're talking about health careers.
Thank you, Monty.
Thank you.
The next item is the expansion of health careers to what is known presently as the NCC building, which was recently vacated. Previously, the Board of Trustees approved a master plan developed by the architect that kind of led us to where we are now in terms of the schematic design. A request was made during building committee to look at one aspect of circulation internally, which was done and discussed with the principal, and we felt that it could actually be done. So you'll see a slight change of what the building committee saw previously. Mr. Sean Carlson of KNRG Architects will make the presentation.
Thank you. Dr. Harrell, Dr. Woods, members of the board, senior staff, and guests. I'm Sean Carlson of KNRG Architects. Tonight I'm going to do the schematic design to renovate Northside Children's Center into health careers.
Thanks.
Currently, this is the Health Careers High School. The building that's the Northside Children's Center is adjacent to that, and they're not directly connected, so we're recommending creating a covered walk that would connect the two buildings, and also providing some secure fencing along the bus loop to the existing entrance to the Northside Children's Center, and also providing some secure fencing here and updating the fencing on this side as well. We're also asked to provide some separation, some fencing to keep Home Green from the Health Careers High School. So we're recommending some chain link fence here and along here. in order to connect the two buildings, we're gonna do a little bit of renovation inside of the high school to create a new entrance, which I will show you on I hold the button down. This is an aerial. You can kind of see there's an existing ramp and stair over here. We're recommending connecting the buildings from here to, with a covered walk and some secure fence. And this is a photoshopped image of our canopy and our decorative secure fence that would protect the kids. In order to do that, we need to do a little bit of renovation on the inside, so we're going to shift some classrooms down. This olive green is a new corridor that actually connects all the corridors, gets them onto this ramp, existing ramp and stair, and into a covered walk to an entrance into the NCC building. We were able to put 2 strands in the NCC building, one being dental, where we provided a classroom lab combination, and then the medical strand, which also has 3 classroom lab elements. We're also asked to provide 3 classrooms, and 2 of those classrooms needed to be have a strong connection to the hospital room. And this is the area where we modified from building committee, where we created a corridor, but we created a vestibule to give that same strong connection where the classrooms actually go through the vestibule into the hospital room. 2 of the classrooms also were asked to be in, where they could be one space as well, so we've had some large flex space there. We provided some offices for staff, a workroom, and then a flex space for the kids to collaborate, and also they could have some guest speakers and a presentation wall.
Sean?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Brian, can you help on this? So, in building committee, I thought the whole purpose of our discussion was to get rid of that bottom corridor. And remember, we talked about we were turning them this way? So, I'm not understanding what you, pardon me, I'm not understanding what you came back with in relation to the discussion. So, y'all were gonna go back and talk to Linda Burke and find out if there was this pressing need to have this connection. And then I thought that the design was to get rid of the corridor. So I guess I'm
Ms. Reed, did you want to
Well,
add
yeah,
on to that?
because the corridor was originally down the one side and down the bottom. It was really long, and the storage room was down there too. So what he's done is moved it up, because you can't really turn the 2 classrooms around, because then one doesn't have access to the hospital.
See, because I
So
thought
now it's
they
a
were
very
turning
short
it-
little corridor.
I thought they were turning it this way, and then the access was going to be back this
No.
way.
Uh-uh.
So, and I didn't see, and I know that y'all had talked about that there was an original plan that had a corridor. Is that was that the original plan?
That was one of the original plans that we reviewed. Obviously, the,
It's better than what it was, because we didn't want that.
exactly.
Yeah, because it was
That little
blind.
Very
that
end,
blind.
yeah.
Now it's not, right?
Okay,
Because you've
so-
got traffic both in and out of that blue
Both
colored
places.
space as well as
There
the
used to
2
be a
green
corridor.
And so y'all are thinking that it meets that, because what it was is we were concerned, remember at Warren, where we learned we didn't
Yeah.
want any of those little blind little areas, and that's what it was. Originally, there was kind of a blind area. So this, you think, with this design takes care of that, where you'll have teachers in both classrooms, and then the hospital piece, where it won't be a blind.
And the longer hallway has offices on the
Yeah,
other
because
side.
that other one
so-
had nothing. It was
Yeah.
just
Right,
this
it was-
blind, it was a blind
And it went a lot
This
further
is
down.
area.
I think this solves the concern
Yeah.
and still keeps the goal for the campus of keeping those 2 green shaded classrooms close to that blue shaded hospital space.
Okay. All right, I just wasn't,
I was trying to figure
wasn't-
out how they were going to do it, but because it wasn't going to be an easy thing to do. But I think you've done a good job.
yeah, it wasn't what I was picturing from the discussion. So this meets, though, what the concerns were. Thank you.
So moving forward, kind of give you an idea what it would look like if you were standing in the hospital room looking this direction. We would have some hospital beds, a big area for them to have a lot of flex space to do whatever they wanted to do. A typical lab classroom. And then the flex space with some soft furniture, some tables for the kids to collaborate, have a presentation wall, and guest speakers. That is my presentation. Thank you.
Great. Are there any other questions? This is an action item. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, but I have a comment to
Okay.
make. We actually spent quite a bit of time at the building committee talking not about just this piece of it or the other piece that we just did at the other schools. We looked at, plans that are going to be put in place, long-range plans, which will have some additional things occurring on this campus as well as the last campus we looked at, as well as the next one after that. And I just have to say, congratulations to your committee, Leroy, because you have really put together some great long-range plans. This is just the first piece of what will be done on this campus. And because we have the ability to do that now, to really look long range, we're going to have really some great new old schools.
Programs, too.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
You already have one.
Do we have one? In a second. We have it. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
The
Adams
next item
Hill.
we have for you is the schematic design for the administration upgrades at Adams Hill. Tonight, the architect is presenting the schematic design for the upgrades in addition to an existing administration suite at Adams Hill. As with the last couple of projects, and as Ms. Reed commented, Building Committee saw a overall, what we call a master plan that allows us an opportunity to try to determine where the best logical places are to build these facilities or improve these facilities over time. That was actually done and presented to the Building Committee. But tonight, Mr. Roy Lewis of Garza Baumberger will make the presentation regarding the expansion of the existing administrative suite.
Thank you, Leroy. Dr. Harrell, members of the board, Dr. Woods, thank you for having me. Just to give you a quick thing, the Adams Hill, the original building was built in 1972. The gymnasium was added in 1975 as a freestanding metal building. Our firm did the classroom addition in 2011. One of the things that we had noticed was, as part of this project, was that the administrative suite was significantly smaller than the current design guide standards. Additionally, some of the functions for the administration were dispersed throughout the school. Another thing is we noticed that the school lacks a bit of identity, and we thought as one of our challenges and goals was to bring it up to something to give it its own newer identity as you approach the school.
That's neat.
This is the area that we're focusing on as part of this work. This is just a diagram to show you where the current administration functions currently are. You have the main administration suite here. You have your teachers' workrooms and lounge back in this area. One of the counselors is back here, and then you have your ISS and resource room at this part. What we propose to do on the right side image here is to consolidate the administration functions all into one area. That would be using a combination of renovation of existing space as well as a new addition. As you can see here, the current administration space is extremely small. It's only about a little over 1,700 square feet compared to the design guide of the space being over 5,000 net square footage. What we would like, oops, sorry. What we would like to do is to add on so that it becomes one main thing. Additionally, you have your existing security lobby at this area. Circulation right now has kids coming through the security lobby into the cafeteria. What we would propose to do is move the security lobby forward in this addition, create a clerestory, giving it that identity that we're looking for, and then adding a new canopy to approach the building. As you come into the security lobby, you would check in order to be allowed to go through the secured doors. Then you have your receptionist, your secretarial area, the conference room principal, vice principal. We would then relocate the ISS room to this location, and then teachers could come in the back way here, and they would have access to their resource room, their lounge, and work rooms, as well as their mailboxes, and then staff toilet rooms back here. This would require us to, in doing this, is there was an existing pre-K classroom here, which we would like to move over across the hall to what was a reading room. That would make the two pre-K classrooms adjacent to each other, and we could even consider putting a communicating door in there.
When you do that, you have to adjust the bathrooms too. The pre-K bathrooms.
Well, we could look at that, yes. One of the benefits of this plan is that we could look at repurposing some of these existing spaces. And what we would suggest is where we displace the reading room, we could then come in. This was the teacher's lounge and workroom. We could then maybe create a small classroom like we do with our typical elementary schools, with an accordion door that could separate them into two smaller teaching spaces. We could then combine or place testing and speech adjacent to each other like we do when we design new schools. Moving to the exterior, this is our proposed canopy, new canopy for the thing, for the entrance to the school. We would like to, as part of this addition, introduce another blend of color of brick so that we have a new look to it. It may not be quite that light. It may be some sort of a blend. But the new canopy would be cantilevered, keeping the columns away from the cards that are dropping off kids. We could see using perforated metal panels with some of the primary colors that would help reflect it being, an elementary school. Anyway, that's our thing. If anybody has any questions.
It was, but I turned it off. All right, it's an action item. I still don't feel like this is on.
The mic.
The mic.
You push the one in the middle?
It's an action item, so is there a motion to approve this schematic design of Adams Hill?
I'd move approval.
Second. Second.
Any other discussion? All those opposed? All those
In favor.
Sorry, I had to wake you up a little bit. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. It's been approved. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're right, Carol.
No, it's not on.
So the next item we have for you is the schematic designs for the library addition and or renovation of Taft High School. As with the others, we've taken an opportunity, you saw the new front, so to speak, for Adams Hill. And every time that we have an opportunity to be able to enhance our existing facilities and give them a new facade, especially those that are challenged in terms of the aesthetic value or the impact, we take that opportunity. And this is the same case here at Taft. The 2018 bond program provided for an upgrade of an existing library. However, we felt that a new library was in order, and also tried to address various other things that are important in terms of the visual impact. Along with, from a facilities perspective, try to clean up the mess that we have in front of it, which is a big ditch that has a lot of water in it. If you go into Taft, you can understand what I'm talking about. And so from that perspective, we've taken that opportunity to do that as well. So the architect, Sean, is back again to give us that presentation.
Hello again.
Time no see.
Yeah. So I'm here now to present the schematic design for the library addition renovation for Taft High School. Just to get everybody oriented, this is the existing main level of Taft High School with an entrance that goes into the auditorium, and then what is now considered the main entrance and lobby into the administration area, which is located right there. The sub-level is where the existing library is. It's undersized, and we were asked to bring it up to district standards and put it in a prominent spot. And this is right under the admin area, right? So it's located right underneath. So in doing that, we are recommending doing an addition to the northwest corner of Taft, where we would have a prominent entrance, a new library. We would be modifying the bus loop and creating a canopy and an area for kids to get on the bus that's covered, and also an entrance where we would loop around and you would be facing the new prominent entrance. Okay, I apologize. So this would be the drop-off, the student drop-off. We would have a covered area. You'd still go up a bunch of stairs, but we also have an accessible route. And you would come into a secure vestibule and then into a lobby. Off that lobby, you'd be able to get into a new reception waiting area. We'd also provide a teacher's workroom and an attendance office. There's a sub-lobby for the library. So when you come into the library, we created a large space that's flexible, computer area, classrooms on this side, and then the workroom, conference room, and study carrels. This corridor would allow the students to get off the bus, come under a covered canopy, and get into this corridor, get into the school, close to the library. They also could exit and get on their buses as well.
Sean, don't leave that. Where are the restrooms?
The restrooms are existing restrooms that are located just off frame.
Okay.
We are providing a new restroom in the teacher's workroom and one right here that would serve as.
There's enough for that space.
We're not changing anything. We're just relocating the library.
Just saying, there's enough for the space.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. The existing library, we're going to turn into a large group instructional area and also a teacher's work area. Right now, this is a picture of the elevation of the current Taft High School. And when we plug in our element, the new entryway, the new administration area, and the new library, this is a photoshopped image that we provided, but we also did a flat rendering so you can kind of see it as a whole. This is actually the elevation from the bus loop, covered canopies that wrap around. Okay, so this would be the new student drop-off, our new entrance, the library over here. We're introducing a different brick color because we do have a pretty monotone elevation, so we're also adding some color here. And the structure is also going to be painted, and you can see the next slide.
Real quick, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you. On that previous design, are we losing any parking spaces because of that design?
We are losing some parking spaces. We've done an analysis, and we're going to be, we're 709 parking spaces. We had 770-ish parking spaces existing. But we are going to lose some, but it is within the bracket that, for the high schools.
Okay.
So we feel like we are.
And what about the flow of traffic as far as coming in and out? Are there going to be, is that going to be a second, because I'm looking at the roundabout, right?
Yes, sir.
How does that look? I mean, is it going to be, is that a separate entrance, or how is that going to work with the flow of traffic coming in? I couldn't tell from the design. Okay.
We're not changing any of the entry points. This would be the bus, and then this is where the signal is. You'd still come in, and before they did not have this, you kind of just disperse through all the parking. If you have a student drop off, we're trying, to drop off a student, we're bringing you here and getting you back out to the light. Also, these points will still remain. You can't turn left off of Calabria into this. You actually have to come up here, and then they still have this entrance and this entrance as well to get over to that. If you're making a right-hand turn, you can turn in and park as well.
Okay.
So, did I answer?
All right, yes, thank you.
We never have figured out how to get that band field closer where the kids aren't marching through the
We talked about it, and
parking lot, is there?
we talked about it again, and we still think that what we have is the best solution. It's not ideal solution, but it's the best solution. We revisited it.
So this would be a view looking at the entrance. The admin area is over here. This is the ramping system. Coming from the other direction, looking at it that way. And then this is kind of a section cut through the building. You'd see, you come up your stairs into the secure vestibule. Once you get past that, you're in the main lobby, get into the admin here, attendance office, the sub lobby for the library, and that corridor that comes down to the bus loop. A view looking towards the library entrance. We have some placeholders for some graphics that the school can put in. Looking towards the admin from over by the library entrance. You get in the library, have that big open space. We talked about the classrooms along that wall, and then this is windows that face Culebra. And that's,
Can you go back, Sean, to the elevation piece? By the way, it looks really nice, too. Thank you.
thank you. This one, or you want me to
Go one more back where it shows the whole thing.
Three different
One, right there. Did you talk to them at all about the different colors that you're using and the future?
The idea is, we have this field brick that's everywhere on campus, and it's a 3 brick blend, so we're recommending that the pieces that are here kind of hug around the library. We're going to introduce a different...
Go one more back.
Back?
Oh,
Very touchy.
so that's that third picture down, if you'll show them where you've done
so
the
this
lighter brick with the hope of doing that down the road.
Right, so we're talking about doing the lighter brick here and here. We don't want it to dominate, but eventually, there's some talk, we don't have the funds, but to possibly even take this element, this is a stair element, and that stair element, and make it the lighter brick in the future, and even come back and pick another element to
That's a
help.
good idea.
So it starts to lighten it up, because it's a very dark
I like
looking
it. It is.
brick.
It's still a big round box,
So
but he's got some good plans on finding other elements to break it up as we go on.
brickwork.
Yeah.
That's why we're trying to introduce a new brick in this element. It helps us set up for down the road.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think that was my last slide. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'll move approval.
There's been a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean.
As you can see, there's some exciting stuff happening at Northside, several of our older facilities, and giving them a new front. And the architects, by the way, have done absolutely a great job of proposing all these ideas to make our schools look better. The next item we have is amendment number 2, GMP for Gulm Area High School. George General Contractors was awarded the construction manager at risk contract on September 25th, 2018. The project consists of several phases and subsequent bids, given the complexity of the project. This request is for amendment number 2 out of 4. There will be 2 more coming, for a not-to-exceed sum of $25,960,858 for the second phase of the site work, pier work, and associated construction needs to happen so we can build the building. I think we have some representatives here. Joris and Jerry Lammer is the architect as well.
You don't have anything to show those different things, the post markings or any of that?
No.
No.
That's all included in the price, Ms. Chumley, and it may be attached to your packet. There should be an attachment. I think it looks very similar. It's got them all listed. If not, I'll be more than happy to submit that. What Ms. Chumley was referring to is there have been some VE items because we're slightly over the budget, and we went through a process that has taken us numerous visits to try to get it down. And then we added some addendums or alternates to take us back up on things that we desire and that we feel are important. And so there's several of those that we are recommending as well. They're included in the 25 million.
I know that we try to keep it short and keep our meetings moving, but in the future, if there's something like that, if we can have just that one page, because that showed what all this entailed and what we were doing and what we weren't doing, which I just think is a good idea for all of the board to know that.
I was under the impression that it was in your packet, but if not, then certainly we can do that in the
it's
future.
not.
And we will.
But just next time.
Absolutely.
If y'all don't
question about
mind doing that.
Thank you, Ms. Chumley. This is an action item. Is there a motion before the?
I'd move approval, but also to say that this is something that we've looked at for the last couple of meetings. And in case you don't know, there's drainage that goes underneath the property, and that's why we're putting in slurry walls.
That's correct.
And what are the other ones around the outer edges?
The swales.
Swale.
around the perimeter.
So in order to make sure that the foundations and everything that are there will, stay stable. So I would move approval. Unfortunately, it costs more money.
Yeah, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved, and I'm looking for approval. So all those in favor say aye.
Wait, Carol,
Oh, sorry.
Katie, thank you for bringing that up, because that's important. The other piece is, because of the soil and the water that they're finding, they're going to do their very best to make sure that we don't have problems with the track that we've had in other areas. But this soil, just think Rayburn, this soil is very expansive and has a lot of moisture, a lot of water underneath it. And so part of what we're looking at is to try to do the very best that we could on the track without engaging like $4 million more, which is what it would take if we wanted, and I can't remember exactly. It wasn't piers, but it was doing something else. And so this does include, though, those efforts to try to make sure that the track is as stable as it can be as well.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, guys have it. And we will move to business and finance. But before we do, I'd like to recognize Dr. Marvitz's class. I didn't see y'all there when people were in front of you, and you've been paying such grand attention. What class is this? Tech, of course it is. Yay, thank you. Well, this is one facet of it, so thank you for being here and observing. Do you have any questions? All right.
Are
great.
any of y'all Northside kids?
Okay. Good
Yeah.
question.
Did any of you graduated from Northside?
What school?
Miss Ortega used to be my vice principal in Ross.
Oh my
Really?
gosh, what a hoot.
Not recognized me.
That's a good thing. I love it. Yeah, there you go. Yay, well, welcome. Thank you for being here. All right. All right, the next is resolution to cast votes in the election for the Board of Directors of the Bear County Appraisal District. Mr. Astellini.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Harrell. What I'd like to do is just kind of do a little brief overview for the next three items. And then as I complete that, we can roll into the individual items. Every other year, the district has the ability to nominate and elect representative or board of directors to the appraisal districts of the three counties that the district has residency in, if you will. The duties of those individuals follows that they do have policy-making authority of those appraisal districts. They appoint the chief appraiser, which is a critical position, and then they have the primary responsibility for all the fiscal matters of the appraisal district. The appraisal district budgets are supported by all the taxing entities. We'll tell you our participation in Bandera and Medina counties is rather minimal. We don't have a lot of presence and a lot of taxing base there in those two counties. Combined to support their budgets on an annual basis is roughly about $30,000. However, the Bear County budget, appraisal district budget, is much bigger and much different. We do have the majority of our tax base, and our tax levy does exist in Bear County. As a result, the district traditionally has nominated a representative that they could elect to the appraisal board. Although we do have the ability to nominate for each position for each of those appraisal districts, that would be 15 nominees total. As I mentioned, we typically have nominated one to the Bear County Appraisal District. This year was no different. We did nominate George Torres in September, and George has continued to represent the district well. Our allocation on the votes, again, is based on tax levy. So with the district, that would give us 1,082 votes for Bear, 60 votes for Bandera, and 120 votes from Medina. And those, the base of those votes is 5,000. So you can see that, again, we have little impact in the other two counties, but Bear, most definitely, we do have some ability to elect at least one individual into that position. It takes 834 votes to guarantee a selection. And when we get to those items, which I'll roll into now, I'll explain what our recommendation is. So with that, I'd like to move into item number 12A, which is the election of the Bear County Appraisal District. There's 9 nominees for 5 positions. I will tell you that we did get a notice from the appraisal district that Rod Schrader has been removed from the ballot, so that brings it down to 9. As I mentioned, it takes 834 votes to guarantee representation. With that, of our 1,082, we would recommend that we cast 830 votes for George Torres, 48 votes for John Fisher, who is the Northeast ISD nominee this year. The 48 votes coupled with their votes would guarantee his selection to the appraisal district board. And then the balance of our votes, 200, we would recommend that we cast to Sherry Byram, which we have traditionally supported her election to the appraisal district board since she does represent several school districts. You do have a resolution and a voting history on this particular item in your packet. And with that, we would make that recommendation. Or answer any questions.
Ms. Reed? And then Ms. Chumley.
I'm going to give my time to.
Okay?
No, that's fine. Mine was just going to be a question if y'all remembered, because I thought in the past that we had done enough for us, and then all of it to Sherry. I don't remember us ever dividing it like we're doing now. I don't know anything about them, and are any of these other individuals representing Northeast that are on the on there now?
Yeah, I can explain the recommendation for.
First though, David, are any of the other representatives on the appraisal board right now representing Northeast?
No.
That person
Yeah,
is
they're
leaving.
but he's coming off. Yeah, their representative is coming off. And I should have explained this a little better. The reason why we're recommending the split this time is that Northeast voting ability has dropped below that 834 threshold. So in order to ensure their continued representative, we would allocate 48 votes to John Fisher.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but this is just the first we've heard about it, and I don't know anything about him, or, I don't know. I just wish that we had talked about it before we, like when this came up last meeting, before we're just asked to do that now without, we just haven't ever done that in the past, and I just don't know anything about who this person is. So, that's why I was just asking if anyone else knows anything or has any information.
Mr. Lopez, did you?
No, and frankly, neither do I. Although I have spoken with staff at Northeast, and they feel very good about their nomination, and they asked for a little bit of support from us to ensure that individual got elected. To David's point, they didn't used to need our support to do that, and now they do.
Okay. Mr. Lopez, did you have any
This
comments?
was a Friday newsletter, so it was presented in that, aspect as well.
For those of us who don't always read Friday newsletter on Friday.
Thank you. Mr. Blunt?
I have a question, though. Does this have to be voted on today, or, it has to be, because obviously some
Yes,
board
we
members
do
have some
we do have a deadline to submit our votes, and we're supposed to be informed from the appraisal districts, and these are set by tax code, by the way. They're supposed to inform us by December 15th.
Well,
Would
and
there- yeah.
Mr.
How many
Blunt?
other board members have any issues with this, or nobody else?
no, and I apologize, guys. I was at the Promised Land and I did not read Friday letter to know about this. But Brian, that helps what you said on it. And, as long as Northeast had requested this and they're good with who's representing them, then I think that is something that we should do.
Okay. Mr. Blunt?
Yeah, partially, be honest, partially is that my fault, because usually about this time in advance, we've had a coalition meeting, and sometimes we have an opportunity to learn what others, and I hadn't heard anything else, and I didn't realize until we got the Friday letter about the Northeast child, but in the end, I'm fine with it. I think we support Sherry as stated, and the others, and support the Northeast candidate, and then next year we'll make sure we have more dialogue in advance.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank
So
you.
if everybody's fine, I'll go ahead and move it.
Well, Ms. Freeman?
I don't really have anything new to add to that. Keith Huey has served on that committee for quite some time, and we all know Sandy Huey
Yeah, I forgot.
as a trustee in Northeast. So it's a matter of trusting Northeast to select somebody they believe that it's going to do a good job, and so I don't have any problem with that.
I didn't realize the piece that Brian added to it, that Northeast had reached
Yeah,
out to us. And that piece of it, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, this was unusual for Northeast to fall behind that, so we did have conversation with them, yes.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blunt, did you have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move approval.
Second?
Second.
There's been a motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, it's been approved. We
The-
don't need to read the resolution or anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am. You're
thank you.
good. The next item is for Bandera Appraisal District. That's item 12B. There's 7 nominees for 5 positions. In the past, in prior years, we had actually taken our allocation and split those evenly. However, this year, we do have a recognized person that has been nominated, Ernest DeWinney. And with that, we are recommending that we cast all 60 of our votes. Now, that doesn't guarantee he's going to get elected. Remember, it's 834 to Ernest DeWinney. And that is our recommendation.
Mr. Lopez?
Again, yeah, this recommend approval as presented by staff.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it. And the third resolution.
Our last resolution concerns Medina County Appraisal District. This one's a little easier. There's 5 nominees for 5 positions, and we're recommending to split our 120 votes to 24 to each one of those nominees. That is our recommendation.
I'm sorry. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it. Thank you. Joseph and Katie. I was looking at Roy's name. All right, we're moving to item 15, administration. Mr. Galindo.
Yes, Dr. Harrell, Dr. Woods, trustees. So last month, we brought you the initial proposal for the Warnley attendance zone. That it will be elementary school number 80 that will open up in August of 2020. Since then, we've had a work session with the SBAC committee as well as a hearing. And so here tonight to present the summary of that hearing and a recommendation is our SBAC chair, Mr. Fernando Garcia. Mr. Garcia.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Fernando Garcia. I am the chair for the School Boundary Advisory Committee. We're here this evening to present the School Boundary Advisory Committee's recommendation on the boundary changes that would relieve Bolt Elementary School and populate Warnley Elementary School, as well as balance the enrollment by utilizing the available capacity at Langley Elementary School. Excuse me. As you know, each time we do this, we follow the principles that you have tasked the SBAC, such as maintaining neighborhood integrity, reviewing all growth projections, program accommodations and student needs, cost effectiveness, and frequency of change to students. A public hearing was held at 7 p.m. Wednesday, November 13th at Bernal Middle School, with a total of 14 SBAC members attending, approximately 34 adults and children attending the hearing, not including staff members. Prior to the hearing, letters were mailed sent via email to families of students grades EE through 4th grade who might be affected by the proposed boundary zone change. 248 letters and emails were sent to students living in the Bolt to Warnley proposal, and 92 letters and emails were sent to students living in the Bolt to Langley proposal. Following the staff presentation at the public hearing, 6 parents submitted written questions regarding the proposal boundary change, and staff shared responses before parents addressed the committee. We first will talk about the Warnley Elementary School proposal. This proposal would move approximately 412 students from Bolt Elementary School to the new Warnley Elementary School located at 1881 Arcadia Path. As of November 13th, the district received 9 comments from families in the proposed boundary change area to Warnley Elementary School. Of these, 4 in favor of the proposal, 1 opposed, and the others asked questions but gave no opinion. At the public hearing, 1 patron signed up to speak to the committee about the part of the proposal. The concerns these parents expressed regarding the Warnley Elementary School zone included students with special needs transitioning to a new school and asked that consideration be given to students who require special programs. If there were any new high schools planned for the area, if the boundary changes would impact the children if already on a transfer for other programs such as parent choice or bilingual education. As a committee, we listened, took thorough notes, then deliberated the following public hearing. We decided in, sorry. We discussed the written correspondence and the merits and the concerns, both written and those expressed at the public hearing. Specifically, the decisions during the deliberation were regarding elementary administration's review of individual situations where a family feels that the extenuating circumstances or unique needs of students involved in the approved boundary change. Reviewed the district's grandfather policy of rising fifth grader students involved in the boundary change and travel routes to Warrenly. Next, we will talk about the Bolt to Langley proposal. This proposal would move approximately 138 students living in the Potranco Run community to Bolt and from Bolt to Langley Elementary School next year. As of November 13th, the district received 15 comments from families in the proposed boundary change area to Langley Elementary. Of these, one person was in favor of the proposal, 13 people opposed, and one asked questions but gave no opinion. Two patrons signed up to speak to the community about this part of the proposal. The district received 2 additional written comments opposing the boundary change following the hearing. The concerns of these parents expressed regards to Potranco Run area moving from Bolt to Langley included traffic congestion in the area, travel distance to Langley Elementary, and safe crossing of State Highway 211 and Potranco Road intersection to go to Langley. Future construction of the expansion of Highway 211 causing students and buses potentially run late every day with the boundary change. Desire to remain at Bolt as it is the only school the west side of State Highway 211. Potranco Run has been involved in boundary changes in the past and continuous moved over time are difficult for the community. Families bought homes specifically to attend Bolt Elementary School.
Bless you.
Bless you. And their children to continue attending Bolt, not Langley Elementary School. Potranco Run is not a large master plan community, so there should be room to stay at Bolt Elementary. One more question was asked to clarify regarding the district's policy about being moved a second time during a school year. The committee discussions during our deliberation were regarding traffic concerns in the area, including congestion and accidents at the intersection of Highway 211 and Potranco Road, as well as where the traffic lights are located at Potranco Road. Familiarity with the current school and staff, however, programs and instructions will be consistent with NISD standards. Availability of district transportation from Potranco Run areas to get students to and from school where traffic congestion exists. Concerns that some areas like Potranco Run are moving multiple times just because of size and proximity, and the district should consider this. Other areas have been moved to multiple schools, and the big picture of rapid growth everywhere makes this challenging. NISD does not have control over roads, traffic lights, or where and when development occurs. Challenges facing by a campus when enrollment is very high. The size of the schools and need to provide the safe and most effective environment possible for students and learning, which support the desire to balance enrollment between neighborhood schools. So in summary, we recognize that the parents' voice are significant and we hear them. The SBAC listened to all individuals and each other's concerns, reviewed in writing response and all available data. And based our decision on how they relate to the growth to Northside. Bless you. We looked at the future effects and recognized that I believe that these recommendations will serve the children of Northside well. We understand the decision of the zoning impacts all children. We realize that there are traffic issues throughout the district and lead to transportation concerns and decisions. We feel that our recommendation meets the north side while addressing overcrowding at existing schools and future growth. So, for our recommendation for the Bolt to Morley proposal, by a vote of 14-4 and 0 against, the SBAC recommends the Board of Trustees approve the administrative proposal. This proposal would impact 412 projected students at Warrenly Elementary School attending area in August 2020. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, and also thank the committee. I know you spent a long time and you're a volunteer. You're part of our family, so thank you so much. And I know it wasn't easy. I think Mr. Lopez has a question, and then Ms. Chumbley.
Yes.
No, I don't.
I just wanted to know where the Petranco Run area is.
A.
It's just A.
So
So it's not that other,
I'm sorry, it is,
it's not,
Green Cell One that's
green area
developed.
that's kind of
okay, so it's all of the green is Petranco Run.
No,
The A is a non-zone or
Non-developed.
non-developed area.
A is not yet developed, or that little box is not yet developed, but where you see the roads cut is Petranco Run.
Okay, and they're saying that they're developed out, but they're not?
That portion, I believe I'm correct, Debbie, that where A actually sits is not a part of Petranco Run.
That is correct. Petranco Run sits on the south side of Petranco where the streets are. And that is, it is not completely built out. There is still a small amount of development to continue in that area. It's probably two-thirds or three-fourths of the way. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but there is still some building going on. And you see that in the projected enrollment by about 5 years it should be built out. The area A is currently zoned commercial.
So it's not gonna, there's not gonna be any development there.
Could be multifamily there.
Could be multifamily. It was looked at for single family, and for various reasons, the folks that we've talked to feel like it's probably not likely to be single family. It's going to front Petranco in 211, which is high dollar commercial, and could potentially be multifamily. Depends upon what
Just
developers want to do with it.
because it's relevant, just so the board knows, a projection for next year for the Petranco Run, our Area A is 138 students. So it is a substantial number of elementary age students.
I think it interesting though, Brian, that we had 13 families come. That's a
No.
high percentage.
There were
of
13,
parents of families that have come, particularly from a small area,
There were
which gives
13 families that submitted a comment against it in writing. There were only 3 individuals that spoke at the public hearing. One spoke to I believe, the Wernley. Mr. Garcia, you've got
Yes.
the notes in front of you,
Yes.
I believe. 1 to the Wernley proposal and 2 to the Petranco Run, am I correct?
correct.
That is correct.
But we
That
had
is correct.
13 people that gave a response, and Debbie, that's not,
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
that's not normal for those small areas. I don't know, it just concerns me, Brian, because if you figure you've got 13, then they're probably representing more than just 13 people. I think is what we have found, I don't know, it just concerns me. And if they're almost built out, I don't know, that piece of it, having that many individuals make a,
Well, remember we looked at a couple of the only 2 options, and obviously those community members that spoke out against would like to stay where they are, which is not uncommon in boundary proposal, and that is not doable, right? Bolt cannot hold that area long term, so Debbie and her staff looked at moving, as an alternative, moving Area A and including it into Wernley. But as you saw a month ago in the initial, we actually walked through that, and that too causes a significant problem. It just moves the problem from Bolt to Wernley in that case.
but how far out was it before we started to see, a real detriment to Wernley? Because I thought that we could contain them within a 5 to 10 year period. I thought it was like 20 years.
No,
It's not
the
20.
5-year at 23-24 school year, the way the proposal is currently.
I'm sorry, Debbie, I was trying to find it.
No, that's fine.
here.
The way the
Find it.
proposal is written currently and presented in the slide that you saw, at the 23-24 school year, Bolt would have 811 students. Langley would have 684.
and Wernley's projected to have 697. So you're at about 800, 700, and 700 between those three schools.
And it's an 800 capacity school.
It's 800 target, yes, ma'am. And at 10 years, we've done a good job balancing those three enrollments as well, so that if growth comes faster than we think before we have another school and another bond issue, we have the most likelihood that we could handle the growth with portables until we could open another school
So
in the
you'd be
area.
added an additional 138, or let's just say 150 if you're
It's-
not completely grown out, so that puts us at.
They're projected to
Right.
peak at about 164, that area. Their 138 is the projected next year. So if you're adding, if you say crudely 150 students to that, then you've moved the problem. When we presented the alternative, which looked at including that area in Wernley, at that 23-24 school year,
That's
they'd
what I'm
be
looking at.
861 students at the 5-year and 1,200 by the 10th year. So you've now,
So
and
we
your,
just moved it from Bolt
and your
to-
Langley
to
enrollment
Wernley.
would be
Shifted the problem.
520. So you would have available capacity at Langley, and we've moved the problem from Bolt to Wernley.
The other thing I'd say, just to be clear, is that the proposal that the community saw did not have anything to do with Wernley. That would be an entirely new hearing, new conversation, and what I suspect, if you go back to the map, what I suspect is because it is significantly further than Langley, that we're going to hear a different set of concerns with regard to Wernley than we would Langley.
Well, I thought.
They actually are 3.04 miles to Wernley, and they're 1.87 miles to Langley.
I thought that one of their concerns, though, I think, is that black line that the red arrow's going over, is that 211?
That's where 211 will be built. So the intersection is right here. That's the intersection of 211 and Petrenko. They would like to stay on the west side of
Yeah, see,
211.
that's-
And
Which is not doable in either case.
Bolt long-term can only hold Redbird Ranch.
Ms. Chumley, also to add to that, as far as the concerns from families, we had one of our committee members actually lives in that area. And once she and I think the whole, everyone that showed up as far as the community heard the proposal, they understood that we had to do this, and including the one that was on the SBAC who voted for the proposal as presented.
Actually had initially written in, I was opposed before she came to the SBAC meeting, and voted at the meeting for the proposal as it is proposed.
Okay, because I don't agree with them staying at Bolt, but I did think if it was possible for them to be at Wernley.
You would move them to Wernley, and in
but
a
I
very
think-
few years, you'd have to move them to Langley again. And it
Yeah,
would be
I-
2 moves in a short period of time.
I just think that when you have that many parents, that we at least need to take the time to discuss what their questions are.
Well, I'm not sure if Mr. Galindo wants me to go off script, but but we did discuss everything that the parents' concerns, and the number one issue was the traffic. But everybody in the committee agreed that this area is growing, and that we can't do anything about the traffic. Their biggest concern was getting out onto Petrenko, going over to a light, and then going to the left to Langley, but we did discuss that there are lights available for you to do so. It's just going to take you a little longer because you're not just cutting through neighborhoods, you're actually getting on the main thoroughfare. And I think most of the parents that were there, that was their concern, was just
The traffic's
traffic,
terrible
the
out
traffic,
there.
and-
I don't blame them.
And once they start working on 211, it's probably going to get worse. So lastly, our recommendation for the Bolt to Langley proposal, by a vote of 14-0, and this included the one parent that lives in the neighborhood. SBC recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the administrative proposal. This proposal would impact 138 projected students moving from Bolt to Langley Elementary School effective August 2020. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, we approve the Wernley Elementary School attendance zone. Thank you. Mr. Galindo, maximum class
Dr. Harrell,
size.
I'm sorry, I think we need, because of the
Oh.
associated, a second vote as well, correct?
Good point.
Say it
Thank you.
again.
So the second piece to that would be the associated move that we just discussed of the students going to Langley, which was that A part, so that would be a separate vote that we would need.
Can we do that when we don't have it listed that way on the agenda?
It's not,
Yeah.
it just says Wernley Elementary School attendance zone, so how do we,
if it's not.
Yeah,
on the
because of the way it's
agenda.
listed, I think we're okay. Yeah, I think we're
Alright.
good. Thanks for bringing that up, though.
Duly
Okay,
noted.
thank
All right.
you. And you're still on for the maximum class size waivers, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So for this month, we do have a request for 26 waivers. Brings us to a grand total of 181 for the year. Still well below the 22 in K through 4, 20.2 to be exact. So ask for approval of 26 waivers for this month.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have talked about this before, although, is there a motion on the floor?
I move approval.
Second? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, we approve the class size waivers. Dr. Woods?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Harrell, a couple of items. One is we need to schedule a level 4 grievance hearing. We've looked at trying to do it on the night where we have other subsequent meetings. The next available place to do that is in January. Our regular meeting is on the 21st. We have a finance committee meeting at 5. And we would ask for the members to look at calendars to conduct the hearing at 3 o'clock that afternoon.
3 o'clock. Are you just looking for a quorum?
Just need a quorum. Yes, ma'am.
But it's a level 4 grievance, Brian.
Right. As long as we have a quorum, we're good. Otherwise, we're going to have to go later, or we're going to have to schedule a separate meeting in order to hear it.
So say, you're saying in January 21st before the finance?
Yes, ma'am. We have regular meeting at 7, finance at 5. Thought we could do this at 3, if there's enough members who are able to be here.
I can be here.
Or we can look at alternate dates, but we'd have to add a date.
I can be here.
I can do it. I'm just not really comfortable with just saying that on a level 4 hearing. All we're concerned about is getting quorum.
Well, the other option is we can flip the script and we can have finance at 3 and the grievance at 5. That's another choice. It accomplishes the same goal.
Could we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Gerald, who's
I'm
fine?
okay with
Who's
that.
fine?
Yeah,
Gerald, are
I'm
you
okay
all
with
right
that.
with that for finance?
Yeah.
So finance at 3 and level 4 at 5.
Do that, right?
All right, I'm looking around. Yes, fine. Fine.
Okay.
That'll work.
That works.
All right. The other one, on a brighter note, if you want tickets to either Brandeis football or Brennan football, we need to know tonight so Stan can acquire those and we can get those to you. So please let Linda know if you want a ticket to either one of those games. They're all Friday night.
How about Harlan?
Just your regular pass because it's at our place.
Oh, Harlan's at ours this
They're
time?
they're at Ferris. Okay, there are several invitations in your blue folder that you may want to look at. Science and Engineering Fair that Dr. Harrell mentioned earlier, some fine arts events coming up in December, and then a brochure around TASB governance as well.
Did we already approve board member attendance at San Antonio Chamber of Commerce?
We,
I don't
was
remember
that
taking.
SA to DC?
Uh-huh.
No, we actually took that off, Dr.
Oh.
Harrell.
Okay, it's still on mine. I'm sorry.
Mrs. Reed was talking about going, and then she and I visited, and she decided not to.
Okay, all right. I think I'm looking at.
Naomi's going to be there, so she
Oh,
can
perfect.
look out for our interest in, who knows what they're going to be doing up in Washington the first week in February.
Could be interesting. All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
No.
Okay. Is there anything else for future agenda items?
I wanted to ask, I just want to clarify. So I may have misunderstood. I thought at the last board meeting that we were looking for dates to do a mid-year retreat. And so I just want to clarify where we are on that, Carol,
And so,
because I misunderstood. I thought that's where we were, is that Ryan and Linda were going to look for a date for a mid-year retreat.
and I have the dates, and so we can talk about it in executive session if you want, but I looked at the dates myself, and I could only make one. And so if the goal is to have all of us there, we were even talking about perhaps
everybody has to be
trying to
there.
have some more dates given. And one was right before a board meeting, and it's already been taken. So of the dates that were shared a few days ago,
Was that a
unless-
Friday letter as well?
No,
I don't
we
think
actually
so, no.
published
It
the
was,
dates.
we were going to talk about it today.
Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure we can talk about that in closed session, though, if we don't have that on the agenda.
No, but we can talk about it. Yeah.
We actually looked
Come
at,
back out and talk
Yeah, it
about
was going to be the
afterwards and
ending,
open.
the last, yeah.
Okay,
if there's a desire to have a mid-year retreat, we had actually, Linda and I had carved out some time starting in the second week of December and going through the middle of January.
Yeah, to January 15th.
And if we need to look beyond that, we'll just need to, she and I'll need to get back together and come back to the board. But the dates that we initially, I shouldn't even go down that road because you've got conflicts on.
On all of them except December
What-
10th.
what was
So,
the date that you had?
the only
December
one I had
10th?
open was December 10th. But they had December 17th, December 19th, January 7th, January 8th, January 13th, and January 15th. So,
Are those all weekdays?
yeah, they're all
Yes, ma'am.
weekdays.
We didn't consider a Saturday.
We didn't, but we could.
Katie.
But, I mean,
We can talk about that now.
yeah, that's,
We
Yeah.
had it on Saturday for years and years.
For a long time.
Not
we had it-
December.
We had it on Saturday morning.
Not in
December
December.
and January, not December and January, we did it in the summer. Yeah, this is a hard time of year, but it gives us something to think about.
Okay.
Thanks.
but if Linda and I need to keep looking for a date, then we need to know that.
I guess
Well,
it
let's
depends on,
ponder on it and then we talk about it.
Ponder's a
I'm
good
sorry,
word.
Karen.
it depends on what we think we need to talk about, so.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. We're good to go? All right.
I think so.
Let me find my next notes. Okay, the Board of Trustees on November 19th, 2019, beginning at 8:50 PM, will convene in closed meeting in accordance with Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. Discussion will take place on the following items: appointment of Director of Marketing, consultation with District's legal counsel, sites, and consideration discussion of board member roles. Let me write down November 19th, 2019, beginning at, is that 10:51? I don't have my glasses. 10:58?
Well, actually, it's not 58.
No, it's 54.
54? Okay, thank you.
Must
My
be
glasses
late.
don't help.
That's, we'll convene in open meetings. Action will take place on the following items: appointment of a Director of Marketing. Do I hear a motion?
I move approval.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the appointment of Director of Marketing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Say nay. Okay, all ayes have it. B, consideration of possible approval of resolution authorizing superintendent as designee to negotiate a settlement, da-da-da-da-da. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, you have to read
Sorry.
it. I think
Oh,
there's,
I'm
we have
sorry.
a plan,
You have
sorry.
the- Okay, got it. I don't know which one you're talking about.
This one is hail damage.
This is
Okay.
adverse possession.
Okay. Yeah, I move approval of the following resolution for authorization of certain actions having to deal with hail damage. Resolved that the superintendent or his designee is hereby authorized to take those actions which he deems necessary, desirable, in his sole discretion to settle hail damage claims with the district's insurance carrier, including without limitation the execution of a settlement agreement. If the superintendent or his designee is able to obtain a settlement of such claim satisfactory to the superintendent and within the parameters discussed by the board with legal counsel in closed session.
Second.
Hail damage. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, it's been approved. Is it the sites? Okay. And then the next item is sites. I have down adverse possession, but it's sites.
I move approval of the resolution that follows. Resolved that the superintendent or his designee is hereby authorized to take those actions which he deems necessary or desirable in his sole discretion to settle adverse possession claims being asserted against the district, including without limitation the execution of a settlement agreement and deed if the superintendent or his designee is able to obtain a settlement of such claims satisfactory to the superintendent and within the parameters discussed by the board with legal counsel in closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Nay. All right, ayes have it. And the board meeting ended at 10:55. Thank you, everybody.